Do you know that as children, adults told us countless made-up stories? We were fed so many harmless fables, but what impact did they really have on us? The truth is, not much. Today, I want to tell you the real story of the tortoise and the hare. It's the one the grown-ups were afraid to tell you because they didn't want to break your hearts. But now, you're ready to hear the truth. Let's be honest. On our planet, there is no animal that can speak a perfect human language. So, for our story, we'll travel to Earth 69, a world where humans never existed. It's a land ruled entirely by animals who all speak one language, just like we do. You can imagine it like a primitive zootopia, a world still in its early ages, perhaps like the Stone Age. Now let's begin. 890 years ago, most of the world was covered in vast, sprawling forests. One forest, known as Illumina, was the most prosperous and abundant of its time. It was a paradise, a land overflowing with food and a magnet for all kinds of creatures. But Illumina was unique. It was a kingdom ruled almost entirely by herbivores. The king was a great hare named Charlie, a king from a lineage of incredibly intelligent hares. His family had ruled Illumina for 3 generations, but King Charlie himself had a cruel and ruthless heart. To secure his power, he drove every other hare species out of Illumina, fearing they might one day challenge his throne. Now he was very old and frail, unable to walk on his own. He was carried everywhere on a grand palanquin, and his thoughts were fixed on one thing, passing the crown to his only son in the coming years. One day, while King Charlie was on a royal tour, he noticed a lone fox at the entrance to the Illumina forest. The fox was incredibly thin, his bones showing through his shrunken fur. He was desperately pleading with the royal guards to let him in. When he saw the king's procession, he cried out even louder, "O glorious king, I am a lone outcast. My pack has abandoned me. I have not eaten for over a week. I do not want meat. I crave only wheat, corn, or potatoes. Please grant me refuge in your bountiful land and allow me to serve at your side, O king of great wisdom." The king was pleased by the fox's flattery and praise. He had his palanquin moved closer. "Tell me, fox, do you truly not eat meat?" "Yes, your majesty. I have not touched meat in a very long time. It is truly disgusting. The only place with potatoes, rice, and corn is Illumina. Please, my king, grant me sanctuary." The hare was delighted. "Very well, fox. I will grant you a place at my side. You may serve me." "Oh, thank you, your majesty," he cried, bowing low. And so the fox began his service, winning the king's trust by praising his every move and catering to his every whim. After a time, he even managed to befriend the young hare prince, ingratiating himself into the royal family. One day, a dire report from the spies forced the king to call an emergency meeting. A massive army of carnivorous beasts, a force equal to Illumina's own, was marching on the kingdom. They had sent a messenger with a proposal. They wanted to meet with King Charlie to negotiate. When they met, the tiger leading the beast army spoke. "Soon-to-be-fallen Hare King, if we go to war, many will die on your side and on mine. We do not want this slaughter. I propose a wager. Is the great king interested?" "What kind of wager?" King Charlie asked, his interest piqued. "A race. We have brought a tortoise. We want it to race one of your hares." The Hare King burst into a fit of roaring laughter. "A race between a hare and a tortoise? You must be insane." Very well. If your tortoise loses, you must swear never to set foot in Illumina again. As you wish, the tiger said with a smirk. The race will be at 9 a.m. tomorrow, right here. When King Charlie relayed the news to his court, everyone laughed. How could a hare ever lose to a tortoise? These beasts have lost their minds. The king summoned his son. My boy, he said, you will race the tortoise tomorrow. I know you will win, but do not make any mistakes. We must not be shamed. Yes, father, I will not, the prince promised. At that very moment, the fox, who was listening in the shadows, smiled a chilling, devious smile. The next morning, the kingdom awoke to a horrifying rumor. The young prince was dead, and the trusted royal confidant, the fox, was nowhere to be found. The king was heartbroken, shattered by the betrayal of the one he had trusted. In his grief, he made a final desperate decision. He would race himself. He believed that no matter how old or frail he was, he could still outrun a slow, plodding tortoise. At 9 a.m., he and the tortoise began the race. But his body, which had been carried on a palanquin for so long, was not used to the strain. His pace was not what it used to be, yet he was still faster than the tortoise. As he reached the halfway point, however, his speed began to falter. His old body was simply too tired. At the same time, the young, strong, and determined tortoise was slowly but surely catching up. The Hare King struggled to move forward, his weary legs giving out. Bit by bit, the tortoise closed the distance. And finally, with a triumphant lunge, the tortoise crossed the finish line. The tortoise had won. And Illumina, the great hare kingdom, was doomed to fall.
Hey, let me run my own ads for my YouTube video. What if the hero wasn't just like a cat, but could actually become one? My new series, The Black Cat, tells the story of a hero with a supernatural secret, the power to transform. It's not just a skill, it's a mystery she has to unravel. If you love superhero action mixed with supernatural suspense, check out the first episode on my channel now. Please like and subscribe to my channel.